welcome back to the Smallville Retrospective. I'm Scotty, you're not. We are on season 4, episode 22. Commencement. I forgot the name. So here it is. This is the end of what I like to call the golden age of Smallville. I think the first 4 seasons of Smallville are the golden age. If graduate high school, there's no more high school anymore. Things changed drastically without the high school format. And this is what caps it off. Rewatching this, though, I have some thoughts. This finale proves that they really didn't give much thought to this Stone storyline. Because if you think about it, the Stones were introduced in episode 1, Crusade, right? Then sort of just forgot about until Spell came about. And she was connected to the Stones and all that. And then there's the whole thing. There's... Maybe not Spell. Maybe it was... the one where Clark and Lionel switched places before, after Spell, whatever. That one showed it in. Then they couldn't get Margot Kidder, so Bridget Crosby's character had to be taken out of the show. That hurt it. Jensen got picked for Supernatural, so he kind of had to leave for a little while. Genevieve wasn't in it as much as she should have, even though she's supposed to be the rival of Lana's. And the Stones weren't the focus like I think they should have. A lot of it was, there was filler stuff. Especially towards the end, there was just freaking a week filler episodes. And now this. Picking up sort of where the last one left off, Genevieve gets into Lana's loft at the Talon because everybody can get in there apparently. She attacks Lana and almost strangles her to death trying to get this stone. But Isabel resurfaces and kills Genevieve with the stone, which gets rid of the tattoo and Isabel. Bye-bye storyline that we should have spent more time on. That's it. That's how that ends. There's no big showdown, really. It's just this little fight. Yeah. And, that's it. Lex happens to witness this and tries to use this as leverage to get the stone, but Lana won't give it up. But then Lionel comes to him about the stones and said that he goes to clean up the body and the body is gone because Lionel has cleaned it up. And he says that he's going to have the body show up at the sheriff's station with Lana's DNA evidence if he doesn't give him the stone that Lana has. Remember, Lionel also has one of the stones. Meanwhile, Clark has a nightmare about something coming. And the something that is coming is another meteor shower. Now, when you started this whole season and you had these stones and they're trying to find these 3 stones, did you think a meteor shower was going to be the climax of this entire season? It sets up the next season, sure, but it just feels like they didn't know how to end the season. So, meteor shower where it is. Yeah. And what's more annoying, did Chris Chibnall write this? Because there's a countdown throughout the entire episode counting down to when this meteor shower is going to hit. It's like every time they would go to a commercial, that music and just really time to graduate. So Lois plans on going with her dad to try to track down her sister, which doesn't happen. I think it does at the beginning of next season though, but she doesn't get that far here because of meteor shower and everything. But there was a moment where she's talking to Clark and she's like, I figure out, he asked what she's going to do now, and she's like, well, I don't know. And he's like, well, how about trying out your hand at being a reporter? You did some pretty good articles for the Torch. And she goes, no, I can't see myself in a newsroom. Plus, with my luck, I'll get stuck with a desk across from the most bumbling reporter there. Ha ha! It's a nod to Clark Kent comics and in movies where he's gonna clumsily fall down. Yeah. Tie his tie for him. Yeah. Lex is trying to help Lana get out of trouble, which means Lana's not at the ceremony when it happens. Look, there's another conversation where when they're getting ready to go in there, and Lois says, when you get up on that stage, I'm going to look up at you and I'm going to think one thing. He's like, what's that? Please, God, don't let him fall. That was my one thing. Because you know me, I told you this before. I have short, stubby legs. So this gown was a little bit big for me. I kind of, So my one big thing is I didn't want to trip. But you get up there, right? You think, I'll be fine. I did not trip. But you get up there, and those big old lights are in your face. And you're just trying to get to the person to shake their hand and get your diploma, and yeah, it's all, like, it's nothing, but it's everything. You know what I mean? Like, it's you're in your head thinking, am I going to do this? Like, am I going to fall down? Am I going to make it? And you make it, and you're just like, okay, I did it. Great. Then you got my mom at the end taking pictures. I think Tim was taking pictures. My friend Tim was taking pictures. My grandma maybe taking pictures. I don't know. But yeah, just my graduation. Like I said, I had to go earlier that day or the day before to do the practice and how we did it. So I had some practice so I wouldn't fall down, but with the lights weren't on then. So they said, you gotta be careful because big bright lights are gonna be on you. So, don't look out into the crowd. Of course I did, because you tell someone don't do something, they're gonna do it. Like, it's like one of those things where you're up on height, don't look down automatically. Well, I looked down, Anyway, back to the episode. So Clark goes to see Jor-El, and Jor-El tells him he has to find the stones in order to stop the meteor shower. Lucky for him, one of the such stones drops into his pocket right afterwards. He tells his parents, because they go to the commencement ceremony, and just as Clark comes across, and they say Lana Lang, she's not there. Chloe doesn't even get to get her diploma. But like, you're Lana Lang, they say it twice, and then the military comes in and says, hey, a meteor shower's coming in like 2 hours, so you have to get out. Right? So everyone goes home and starts packing, and Clark says he has to go see Jor-El, and that's when he finds out. And he tells them they have to go without him, along with the dog, because they have to get out of there, and he's got to find the stones. He goes into the barn for something, I don't know why. And Lana is there, and she gives him her stone. I like this scene, though, because she's like, why is there blood on it? She goes, you know how those times I asked you about things, and you couldn't tell me? You said you couldn't tell me? Well, this is one of those times. And I'm like, Dad, you throwing it back in his face. Okay? Yeah. Yeah, and then she acts like, we're going to see her again. And then she says, I love you, Clark. And they kiss. Smoochy, smoochy. And then she flees back to the Luthor mansion where she was hiding out. And then at this point, Lionel's also showed up to tell Lex, hey, I need to start. Well, no, this is not there yet. She goes back, and then he's like, I want to make sure that the stone is safe. And she goes, it is. He goes, well, sure. Well, even so, let's put it in my vault. And she's like, no, it's safe with me. She doesn't tell him yet. And then, little argument. Then Lionel shows up and is asking about the stone. And he's like, well, you're all concerned because Lex earlier in the episode went to talk to Clark. Just Clark was getting the key out, so that was quick put in his pocket. But he talks about when Clark had the amnesia, he talked about the inner chamber. So he's like, my scientists have discovered an inner chamber inside the caves. By the way, if you watch or listen to the Dogville podcast, Michael Rosenbaum absolutely hated that set. He said it's all dusty and musty. It's not. It's all enclosed and everything. It's not good. But Clark denies knowing anything about it. Just as Lionel and Lex are having this conversation, Clark puts the second stone in, which lights up the empty third part and causes the other one to light up. It happens to be in Lionel's pocket right now, and when Lex goes to grab it, it flies out of the pocket and is there. And so then Clark hears that noise again and follows it to the mansion. He finds that it's in Lex's vault, because Lex put it in the vault, and he had Lionel move upstairs to another room instead of getting him out of there. I don't know. He's comatose, but that will be important in the next season. Clark super speeds in, and at this point, also I should mention that Chloe and Lois have decided to go back and try to get Lana, because Lana called her and left her a message, but Lex interrupted. She heard Lex and believes she now knows she's at the mansion, so she's going there. Lex, okay, here's my so Lex wants to get Lana out of there safely. His big plan to get her out safely in a meteor shower is to put her in a helicopter. To quote Tony Stark, not a great plan. It's not at all. Why? Why would you have to put her in something that's going to be in the sky? Which, need I remind you, is where the meteors are going to come from. But anyway, so before she gets in the chopper, though, he's like, Lana, for your own safety, I need that stone. She goes, I don't have it. But it's safe. And she's like, is that all it was about, was the stone? And this is where we get the start of their sort of kind of thing. Lana, I care about you more than you'll ever know. Your safety is important to me more than you ever know, because I care about something like that. And then he puts her in the chopper, she flies off. Chloe shows up. So Clark comes in, he rips the door off its hinges from the vault. He walks in and he sees the stone, but he walks in and it turns out that Lex had taken those artifacts from China that had the kryptonite in them. Those are sacred Chinese artifacts in a temple, no less. Isn't that like defilement or something? Isn't that? I'm just saying. No, this is where I went, of course. Like, why couldn't he just get the stone and go back? Why did we need, and it's only like 5 minutes that he's down, because like, shortly after that happens, Chloe shows up, moves him out of the way, he super speeds, and then Lex walks in, and asks what happened, and she's like, well, I came looking for Lana, but like, do we really need that? I mean, I guess we need to show that Chloe is going to help Clark, but I don't think we really needed him to be incapacitated. Like, is it really need to fill up that time that much to have him collapse? Like, if he went in there, found it, and zoomed off, then Chloe comes. Then we cut and come back, and Chloe walks in. Is confused as to what happened. Then Lex walks in. You know, I mean, I guess the whole like, "Oh, who are you protecting?" type thing. Obviously, she's gonna know it was Clark that did it, so that would still be there. But then he drags her to the caves as Lionel's Clark gets ready to put the thing together. However, meanwhile, back on the farm, as the Kents are preparing to leave, a car comes barreling in and stops them from leaving, and a very, very beaten up Jason comes clumsily falling out of the car. At first, like Jason, like he's in trouble because they don't know, right? They don't really know. But he holds a shotgun. I got a shotgun. I like that the dog automatically is like until he fires a shot up into the air, and then does like like some dog, some guard dog. But yeah, Jason basically holds them at gunpoint, has them tied to chairs inside their house, and is telling them, "You gotta tell me where Clark is. I wonder where Clark is. Where's the stones?" They distract him, and they beat him down, but Martha's knocked out, and then the meteors start to hit, and they just barrel right into the house. Yes. Clark gets the piece together just as Lex and Chloe make it to the cave. There's a big light that engulfs all of them, but spoiler alert, Lex is not taken there. Let's say Lex is left behind. But Clark, and of course you can assume Chloe, were sent to the Arctic. Clark's looking around, cuts back. We see the meteors hit the chopper, knocking it down. But Lana survives. Yeah. And she crawls out and she sees a spaceship which starts to open. Meanwhile, Lois is still around and she's in Chloe's little beetle bug. And she walks up a cliff and she sees the damage. Now it's done because he put the stones together. So, yeah. And Lionel is laying in bed with some weird symbols in his eyes that connects to next season. And then we go back to the Arctic. And Clark is there. He has the stone. The stone points him forward. He takes it. He throws it. To be continued. Thus ends the golden years of Smallville. That's in my opinion, by the way. I feel like the golden years were when they were in high school. The first 4 years when they were in high school, the Freak of the Week stuff. Some of you might say it's kind of, some of the Freak of the Week stuff was, there's still Freak of the Week stuff going on. Don't worry about that. But I felt like once season 5 comes, there's a big change in the way things are. There's no high school anymore. There's some college, but that goes away pretty quick. I don't think it goes past the 5th season. Lex is completely different from the way he was in the first 4. If he was morally ambiguous in the first 4 seasons, I think this finale and going forward solidifies that it's no longer ambiguous. He's, like he said in Onyx, I am the villain of this story. It becomes very clear that he's becoming the villain that he's destined to become, although his exit from the show kind of ruins that, and then they bring it back. It's still kind of, but yeah, it goes without saying. But this is Jensen Ackles' last episode. I was hoping so. Obviously, I knew he was going on to Supernatural. I saw the stuff, because I saw the TV spots and everything. What baffled me is they just wrote him out as he died in the meteor shower. He's dead, right? Because they couldn't, he was supernatural. But I waited and I waited and I waited for them to do an episode where he shows up and has now a strange meteor power, where it's revealed that he was hit, right? But he didn't die. Lex found him when he was leaving the caves, and he survived, and he was part of Lex's 33.1, right? And he was an experiment, and he became something for Clark to take out later. They wouldn't even need to use Jensen Ackles. He could be mangled, and they could say they had to put him in some kind of suit thing, You know, like they do with Lex, they use a double for the later seasons after Michael Rosenbaum left, where they show him in like a truck with a thing and his face is covered, right? Apparently, it's a guy named Morris that was his double and continued to do that after Rosenbaum left. So, but like, they could do that for Jason, even if Jensen is too busy to come back, even though they're both filmed in the same place, basically, Vancouver. But you know, I just felt like killing him off. Just saying, instead of trying to have a continuation of that and just killing him off. Because my big problem was Jason and Clark never had a big standoff. Clark was off doing something else and he confronts the parents. There was never one final, thing between them. Nothing. He also doesn't have a final thing with Lana. All this time he's trying to protect Lana from his mother, but there's no final thing between them. They don't have a final scene. He confronts them and then he's announced his dead off screen because of Supernatural. And to me, like I said, it's only one episode. I haven't come back and like season 5 or 6. Although I will admit, when season 6 was on, I saw Justin Hartley and for a split second I was like, wait, they brought him back? No, that's not him. I don't know. I don't know what was with me mistaking people for other people. I thought he was Whitney, and then I thought, But yeah. Season 4 as a whole, though. Let's talk about this for a second. No. The no is because I thought going into this that I think this is actually better than season 3. It's not. It's probably a close second, though, when it comes between those two, because it has its moments. I like Jensen Ackles in it. There's some actually pretty good episodes in the first half of the season, but it falls to that, and maybe they have something nowadays with having shorter seasons. You can get a lot done and with less filler. And there was just those last run of episodes before the finale was just filler to the max. Just filler, freak of the week type episodes just to fill out the episode run. Because they had a certain order, the episode order. And so, yeah, it just, I don't know. A freak of the week episode every once in a while is appreciated. But it felt like this should be more, like, especially from the first 2 episodes being connected, that it was going to be more serialized. And then the next 2 were just freak of the weeks. And then, there was a couple in there. There was Spell, which a lot of people don't like. I thought was okay. And, the Onyx was pretty good. The one where Clark and Lionel switch places is good. And it also is connected to the main arc, But they couldn't get Margot Kidder to come back. There were scheduling issues. That was a problem. Christopher Reeve passed away, which was unfortunate. Jensen, being picked for Supernatural. So it all just kind of, what they wanted to do, they weren't able to do. And so it felt like there was nothing. Because there's a big gap in the story where it feels like the finale is now rushed. And it really is, because like the whole Genevieve getting killed off at the beginning, it felt like that should be the end. That should be one of the climactic things. But it's the beginning, and then Lana's on the run. She misses her own graduation because of that. So it's, I don't know, it's confusing. But as a finale, I think it works. And like I said, once again, brings an end to what I call the golden age of Smallville. Because like I said, from this point on, things change and, yeah. And yes, even though I had seen it, I did hope Lois would get hit by a meteor. But you can't do that. It's Lois Lane. It's Lois Lane. Can't do that. But yeah, so what are your thoughts on this episode? Let me comment. You should like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I'm Sky, and I'll see you in the next one.